are live on Facebook. Alrighty. What is up?
Love it.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Pointed Tails podcast. I am your host, Andres Gamboa. Nick Taverdi is taking a break this week or this episode, which is okay because I'm hanging out with a dear friend of mine from my first summer. True legend. I will share some of the memories, personal memories of her stats and her accomplishments first, and then we'll let her kind of share some of her stories. I'm excited for this one because Katie was one of those people who led by example, took it upon herself to lead from the front, because my very first summer I started, and it was a decent start. It was like 200 some odd units, 300 units, 300 units again, whatever. Didn't even know what units were, so I didn't really care. Until week 4, some person, I don't even know where the hell she was, registers a 901 unit week as a first year, almost mort. And I was like, what the fuck? Who is this? And it was Katie Grassi. So she ended number 7 her first summer, selling well over 4,000 units, including more than me, which I'm pissed about. I'll never live that down. And just a super overall human, super awesome human being. I am really thankful that you're here, and I am so excited to go and go down memory lane for our first summer in 2012. So thank you for being here, Katie Grassi.
I know it's almost been 10 years, like literally 10 years since that one summer wonder. Good times.
Yeah, it is. So thanks again. Okay, so talk to me. Let's walk back, rewind a little bit. Who were you? How were you when you first heard about this crazy door-to-door thing that you were about to embark upon? Tell us the story. How'd you get in?
I actually was listening to one of the, I think it was episode 3, Brandon Q and Amanda Q. And he was telling his, like, where were you at? How did you hear about it? And I was like, I don't know that I've recollected and like thought about that. And so I spent some time and realized it was the same as Brandon. I was in a lecture hall where they just let someone, I don't even know who it was. My inkling or guess is that it was Jenna Klein, but I could be wrong. That gave this presentation. It could have been Q, honestly. I have no clue. That gave it to our visual perceptions. I was in an art classroom and for freshmen, and I heard about it, and I was like, hand out this little square piece of paper, like, come to this random room somewhere on campus, learn about more. I'm like, okay, cool. So I did. And we talked about this. Obviously, we'll get into it, but I went basically through the whole process, and the selection process and everything. And I was offered a place and I turned it down my first summer. I mean, I wanted to more than anything, but I said no. And not to get too heavy, but it is a huge part of my story, and I'm an open book about it. My dad was diagnosed when I was in high school with stage 4 cancer and was given 3 to 5 years to live. My freshman summer of college would have been year 3. So it was kind of like ticking time bomb as to the time literally I had left with him. And so as my first summer away from college, I was like, nope, I'm going to go back home and I'm going to spend it with my dad. I'm going to spend it with my family. And so I did. And I guess I could just continue with the story of like how I got recruited.
Sure. This is good.
Fast forward, I applied to be an RA. I was selected my first year. So as a sophomore right away, then I was going to be an RA on campus, which required coming back to campus early. You meet all the staffers and everything. And there was this kid in my hall, Campbell Hall at UNI, Trevor Monier, and was a book kid. And so some of his time was just spent on book stuff, recruiting. He was a student manager, all this stuff. And I had let it slip that I actually knew about what the program was, and I turned down the selection process and didn't go. And so he was just like, come on, like, just go to an info session again. Like, what's the harm? And So I go again. I'm like, okay, Trevor. And I actually think we might have made a bet over like, fine, I'll take a weekend of shifts, or like you'll take my weekend if I go to this info session. Like you'll pick a
Yeah.
weekend up of shift for me. I go and I remember one thing that my dad said to me, and I went through the process again very quickly, with like I had Nick Henderson, I had
Legend.
Brandon, yes, total legend. Brandon Q, Jenna Klein, like all these amazing humans. And I knew that I was in right away. I think I was probably the first recruited on campus that year, other than like student managers recommitting, because my dad had told me I'm going to continue to be sick and then I will pass away and you will live on past that. And your life cannot stop just because mine does. I mean, I remember him saying it to me before I went to college that fall.
How do you feel about it? Like when someone says that to you? Like I can't even imagine how heavy.
I mean, I've dealt with a lot of loss, this.
Yeah.
It's so true though. And I don't know if like pre-therapy, like talking about the reality of that before it happens makes it easier. You prepare. I mean, my dad battled for quite a while. And so I had a lot of preparation, but that was enough for me to be like, okay, game on. And my dad did teach me two principles. My mom, go big or go home. My dad, if you're going to do something, do it right, do it all in. So I'm like, let's go. If I'm going to do this, I am committing 1000%, like 111%. Let's do this. And so I committed. It was like September, October. Trevor, we were always scheduled our sessions, like our weekends then together, and we would just knock on each other's doors in the dorm room starting in like October to start practicing. Beautiful. We would set up chairs in the office, like our big group hall, and pretend like it was a street and houses and like on to the next one, on to the next one. I mean,
so you were getting trained well
for 8 months. Like,
wow.
I was coachable. Whatever he told me to do, I was like, yes, and like just made up ideas.
And sorry to like inject, because
no, you're good.
So in Yvette's episode last time, we talked about like the power of visualization. So I'm assuming it must have been like pretty much a lot, like super helpful to do that, because you definitely were able to see it. Even though like we all have that experience that when we first get to the territory, like it's never what we really pictured it as, but like the emotions that you would go through were probably something that you were visualizing a lot in your head. I mean,
and I was in Louisiana, but I mean, he had been to Louisiana before. So we talked, like, if I had the forethought to think about the question and he had thought about it also, like we covered so many objections in that sense. Like I recorded my sales talk several times over, but initially I remember the first time and I hated listening to my voice, but I walked around campus and I was, we all as book kids are super involved in like everything. But that's what I would listen to in between classes. I would listen to myself give the sales talk. And if I didn't like my tone or inflection, after a couple weeks of listening to it, I would re-record. And I knew, I mean, I could recite it as if it was nothing. By May, when we were going to sales school, it was just like, it was scary. I remember being in the parking lot when we're doing like all the hustle and bustle. That kind of intimidated me. I was like, what did I get into? But I had blinders on. I just was like, I've been taught to do this thing and I'm going to go do this thing. I remember, funny story, this kid who I thought was going to be my number one competition, because I was super competitive. I was like, I will be number one. Like I will. And this kid, I thought, oh, damn, Hannah, which I technically led for the 10 weeks I sold. It took them, I sold for 10 weeks. They sold for 12 because I was an RA. I had to go back 2 weeks early. It took an entire week, almost week and a half before anyone caught me. And then I finished 7th.
I tried my best. We'll get to that.
Yes.
Sales school.
Anyway,
no,
so this kid at sales school is like, we are like neck and neck, like who's going to be who kind of thing. And I remember he quit that summer. I didn't realize it at the Sunday meetings until 4 weeks later. And I was like, what do you mean he quit? Like, I just thought he'd been sick every Sunday. Ironic, like insert whatever excuse that my brain had made, but he quit.
And I just didn't
even notice for 4 weeks after he had quit. And he quit maybe week 3 or 4. I'd say I have no idea. I mean, I think he only was there 6 weeks.
Is that why you just took off on such a hot streak when you started? Like you were just jamming.
Oh yeah, well I had practiced, like, but I didn't anticipate to have a fast start. Like, even though I had put in the time and effort, I didn't know that I would have a fast start. And we will lead into that. Like, I had set a low, medium, and a high goal, but my low goal was literally just Sizzler, like just to go on. That wasn't really low. I guess that's kind of like a big deal. It was low to me. I'm like, Sizzler, no brainer. Like,
Of course, we're gonna get there.
Yeah, I'll be there. That's
I
like
already told my
on the
parents.
way.
I already told my
But
parents.
my
When are we gonna be
goals,
home for Thanksgiving?
yes, that was a huge part, is my goals were so deeply rooted and a huge part of my story, and has altered my life. Of summer 2 meant I was going to go 110%. I committed. I'm like, yep. I like did all the training. I like everything that I could do, I did. Even when I didn't want to. Like, Trevor's like, are you going to knock on doors tonight, or are you going to just like veg out? Like, he would call me out on that. I'm like, fine. But my goals, so goal 1, and I actually have a picture of this. I should have pulled it up to show you, but goal 1 was to gift. And this was to gift, so I had to make it like revenue, not just selling, which I didn't even really know what this meant, but my student managers helped me. And my HQ was Maggie Dietzel and Morgan Jones, who was another first year.
Studs.
I know, we had a
Morgan ended up number 3, and Maggie Dietzel's just a beast.
I know, she had our best student manager summer that summer, I think, too. Anyway, or to date she had. But my first goal, number 1 baseline, was to gift $5,000 to my parents. Like, I wasn't even working that summer for me. It was all for my parents. Like, they had given me so much. Money was tight because my dad's cancer and everything like that. So I just knew that I was going to give him $5,000. And that's what I was like, I'm going to bust my ass. I've been given so much in life. I can do this. And I hit that literally like week 2, week 3 at the latest. And then goal 2 was to gift my sister $2,500. She had just bought a house. She had just bought a car. She was about to graduate or switching to cosmetology school, which was way more expensive. You paid for school up front instead of a loan, at like $20,000 a pop. And so I was like, yep, I'm going to give that to my sister. And I have 2 sisters, but that one was like physically close. The other one lived in Florida and was 10 years older. So $2,500 to her. And then I remember the third goal was just $1,000 for me. And I really wanted Surface Pros came out, and I really wanted a Surface Pro. And that was goal 3. And I hit all 3 of those probably by week 6.
Yeah, because you're
in revenue. I mean, it was like, but well, I blame myself, and I wish I had had some coaching, but it was just so fast. I didn't have any other goal. Like, there was nothing else that I had set. And that actually week 4, I had hit a very high week. It was like fast start, open gates, and I was hitting numbers that student managers weren't hitting.
Yeah, that week, that when the pace setter came out, when you had 901 units, I was like, who the fuck is this? Like, I just remember thinking,
my yellow polo or stupid ass picture.
Yeah, you had a yellow polo. I have that pace setter somewhere.
I do too. I wish I would have grabbed it. Anyway.
But even I remember even Steve, because like you beat the manager that week too. You had like the most units in the company.
Yeah, whoever the pace setter was. Manager. Yeah.
That week. And then Steve was like, that's gotta be a mistake. She must have just like counted up like units wrong or something. And then like it's like, I'm like, no, Steve, it's on the pace setter. I'm sure they would have like
checked,
you know, like
I actually sold, I don't want to say too many books, there's no such thing, but I sold so many books that they made me get a storage unit halfway through my summer and start trying to deliver while I was selling as a first year, because they were like,
that's something.
This is going to be a lot of books.
Yeah.
And they're paying in full. Like, I would get people not just to like, but to pay. And so I had the books with me, which also helps sell, because that's a student advantage, or I mean, a
Yeah.
student
Yeah.
manager advantage. You have the product, there's some credibility and stuff. And I
Yeah.
had to learn that. Funny freaking story while we sidetrack on that freaking storage unit. So I had to pay for this. I didn't worry about money because I was making plenty of it. I had to call. It was like a whole day ordeal. Nick Henderson can tell you because he's never gotten a call like this, I'm sure. I bet you in all of his summers, this is the first one. I'm at my storage unit and I have to call Nick. And he's like, why is it? Well, he had to help me too. Like I had to do this during the day because of the hours that someone could
Sure.
set storage unit. So I'm doing this. He's like, you got to get this done by like 9 a.m. I go there and he goes, and we'll start to unload product there or something. I don't remember how all that happened, but there was a nest of black widow spiders in the storage unit. What do you call like pest control? The storage unit place had never seen it, like legit black widows.
God.
Red dot on its back. I remember Nick asked me to send him a picture of it. And I'm like, no, it's the real thing. Like I know what it's like. This is the real thing.
What the hell?
And I sent them a picture of it and they were like, they had to, I didn't even get the storage unit right away because they had to de-spider it, like poisonous killer spider it.
That's insane. Can you imagine if it had been like prior to them settling there, like just as
Or
they were
if there were
settling
a
there and you
bunch
were
of
like moving
books
your
and I-
books? Yeah. And then all of a sudden you get bit. Oh my God.
Could have died
You could have died.
selling
would've been
books, matter of
tragic.
life and death.
Yeah, man. Ah, man, that's wild.
Yeah, super
So-
random story, but
So this was in Louisiana. You were like, and you were jamming. So walk me through the week of 901. I mean, were you shooting for 901? Were you surprised when that happened? Were you like, was it like, were you shooting for 1,000 and you missed? Like, what was the mentality? I mean, I know you told us that you were doing it for your parents, which is noble. I mean, that's so freaking cool.
I didn't
but as
really
far as like
care.
practical,
Yeah,
how did you know?
I didn't really care what every week looked like. And this sounds so damn coachable. Like someone did not mic me to say this. I did not set unit goals per week. I just didn't. I didn't even know really what it equated to. I mean, I was just overall over the course of the summer, this is the number. And so it was kind of more like a thermometer. Like the more that I can sell towards that thing, the easier it will be. And then you gain momentum, you feel like it's possible. You don't hit that middle rut. Like I'm never going to make this happen because there's no middle lull. And so I just like right out the gates, I think I had like a 200 unit week and then 4 and then 500 or 600 and then it was 900. I mean, it really jumped up 900. And I didn't have anything crazy that happened that week. It wasn't a bunch of like drop the bags. It wasn't like I just 30 demos a day and like one more, just one more. And I just followed up. I literally have my bag here that has
I was going to say, show us this.
My maps
Let's see
from
this.
my
Let's see
summer.
this.
Who keeps
By the
this?
way,
This is
if
10
you have
years
pictures that
ago.
you want to share, you can send them to me and I can screen share it on the Zoom. So
Oh, yeah. No, this is like for gold. If someone first year, here's all your bookmarked. And I knew the pages, I knew objections. That was probably my number one thing. If I could teach someone to be number one for a summer, I'm not even kidding you, it would be to master. I mean, obviously stay on schedule, but aside from your habits, the selling part of it would be finding a need. I was so freaking good at finding a need. Are you the kid that hates school? Great. Are you the kid that loves school? Great. Are you the kid that needs help, but your parents are too damn busy? Great. Like I knew it to a T and I knew how to talk to the parents about that and the kid and like get them like, yeah, mom, like this would be super helpful. Also, I had the books as a kid.
Oh, you're a student of the product.
Fun fact, I've never opened a damn one. Should I say that? I probably shouldn't say that. This is the map. Like this is the magic. It's like crumpled up. I have not opened this in 10 years.
You know what's wild? They don't even use this anymore. They don't even use maps anymore.
What do you use? Like Google Maps? How do you track it?
It's all on an iPad, and there's a thing called Sales Rabbit, and it basically keeps track of every single house. You can put notes on it. You can color code it. You can be like, this is
that's just cheating.
On a freak, and then you can put like pins on them, set appointments for them. Like,
look at this. I have.
Yeah, this is old school, baby.
I'm gonna take a picture so you can screenshot this and put it in. I literally have the numbers down, and then I cross them off, like to the T.
Do you
This
still
is
have your
crazy. I
bars?
could go back to Shreveport. I could go back to Minden, Louisiana, and I would still know families there. Like,
Yeah, same. Do you still
so
do you have your
crazy.
do you have your bar? Do you still have your bar?
The what?
The bar, remember that green paper that we had to fill out at the end with like mark out the
Oh,
expenses
I
and all the
do.
units and stuff?
Somewhere. Wait.
I want to see your week 4
Why
bar.
do I have everything? I'm serious. I've not opened this in a minute.
This is wild. It's right there.
So
It's right there.
crazy. I haven't done this. Oh my gosh. This is like, oh, also funny story while I'm pulling out stuff about checkout week. So was it blue?
Yes, that's it. That's the bar. Oh my gosh. I hope new book kids watch this. This is hilarious.
If this is filled out. Oh wait, this one's not. Hold on. Let me see if this one is. I'm gonna have to send these pictures to you. And then I have a pace setter. We got to throw that. These aren't filled out. I'll find one that is. Funny story too,
This is
during checkout.
hilarious.
So I get back a couple months after checkout. And I mean, I had whatever credit union, you recommend. We have to have a bank account or something. And I don't want to rustle a bunch of papers. I'll find some cool stuff and then I'll send it to you.
Yeah. Feel free. Sure. As we're talking, that's fine. No worries.
I got flagged for fraud. Nearly didn't get my big check out of my bank account because they had it pending, almost like federal level, like there's been too much influx of money in and out on your bank account and you've been flagged for fraud. It took me like
10,000, yeah.
3 or 4 months to get the actual, like to withdraw the money from my bank account. Like everyone goes and spends it. No, I was dealing with banks trying to get
No
it.
way. So you didn't get a big check until after?
Well, I got a big check, but like the actual bank account side of it, like when it was deposited and then I tried to withdraw any of it,
Yeah. It took 3
my
months.
whole account, like my social security number was flagged.
So essentially Southwestern just cut you a check and said, all right, you owe us 20 grand technically until that comes through.
Well, no, I had turned in all my books and stuff. This was like the money came through from Southwestern, put it into my bank account. This one that I'd used.
Oh, this is after. I see.
This is after I was back and everything. And then I try to use any of the money. And I just really wanted to close out the account and use this account, like my normal bank that I had used before the summer.
Whoa.
And it took like 4 months to get any amount of money out because they had flagged the account for like, they thought I was a drug dealer, essentially. Like I got questioned because I was like fluxing money and sometimes it'd be cash, sometimes it'd be check. So they were like, we gotta figure out. I had to go in for like a meeting at one of the bank branches for it.
Welcome to my life.
I forgot about that.
People are like, oh, you're Colombian? Oh, come here.
Yeah, seriously, so weird. They made me switch my bank account halfway through the summer to a business account too, because there was too much in and out.
Sure, because you had to drop in 5 grand and then remit it right
Yeah,
away.
yeah. I mean, by
like
week 4. Yeah, so in 4 weeks I was at 901.
Yeah, and you're like 19,
and then you'd
maybe
take it out and send it. Yeah,
sure. That sends a red flag.
And then I was paying for books because I had
you were remitting,
a storage unit, and then I
books
still had
money.
I had to deliver for a week and a half because there were so many people. And I would say a good chunk of my, maybe an eighth to a quarter of them were just like, everyone gets a damn book. I don't care. Everyone buys a book, especially once I had them in stock. You would buy like just one, like the tiny, like whatever, the ABC book or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yes, you're buying those. Like everyone buys something.
No way. That's a mentality. Now, do you remember like, because I remember, I'm going to do my recollection of like my memory of you at the time.
Oh gosh.
Because it was, I didn't set out to be number one. Like when I got recruited, I had almost the exact opposite story. I was the last person in the organization to get recruited. It was just not going to be a thing where I had the sales talk memorized. I didn't even know how many pages. I didn't know that was a sales talk until like we got to like, I think I was driving to Nashville when like we got to the Super Saver where we left out of like the parking lot where we gathered to go to Caravan. Mm-hmm. And Steve's like, hey, are you good at memorizing? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, you should memorize this by the time we get to Nashville. And I was like, cool, I got 12 hours. And that's when I learned my sales talk. Like it was the exact opposite of you. I didn't even know what to think. I didn't even know we were going. I had no idea.
Which is crazy. You finished like close behind me. I mean, what did you finish?
Well, I ended up number 9. thank you for not looking back. And no, but so I didn't have this mentality of like, I'm going to be number one. I had no idea. Like my job was just I did have similar to the thing that actually really probably connects us the most, and the really where we bonded, I should say, was when my dad, and actually I have a tattoo for that, is he always said, if you're going to do something, do it with love, which, generally meant do your best, like put your heart into it. He would always call it leaving your signature. Like people should know that you've been there without you having told them that you were, because of the way that you left things. And I was like, oh, okay. It's an interesting mentality. So that's kind of where, for me, I just like, I'm just going to do my best, because I don't even know what money goal to set. Like I had no goal that way. But I figured, since I didn't know anything, my goal was to be coachable, not for making money, but for the idea that I don't know what the heck I'm doing, and I can rely on this system. So if I put everything into the system and I don't succeed, then it wasn't on me, because I did what I was supposed to do, right? So I start rolling. I wasn't selling as much as you were probably. I mean, I was not behind too far, but Steve didn't even talk to us about the pace setter at all until he was after.
I didn't know about the pace setter actually either. I didn't realize that was a thing until they were like, hey, your face is on this.
Yeah, I think Yvette didn't even send out pace setters to the group of us until like week 4, which is why after week 4, so like was it your 4th week that you killed? Yeah,
4th week. Yeah, week 4 was my big week.
So at week 4 the week 5 was when I went on the pace setter.
Okay.
But that's at the end of that week is when I got your pace setter. Does that make sense? Because you don't get the pace setter the same day out. Like you did your thing, and then they have to print them, and then by that next weekend so it's never really live. You're just looking at what happened before. So I've come off of like a 565 unit week, and I'm thinking I got to be pretty close to number 1. Like I'm killing it. And that's Saturday night. And then Sunday morning, we get to the Sunday meeting, and they're handing out pace setters, and I see some.
I've never heard this.
Asshole.
This is
fucking asshole. This is the first time you're hearing the story. So it's some fucking asshole named Katie Grassi. It's just all up in there, and she's like, 901 units. You just what?
I just thought about pause. I know where my pace setter is.
Where? Well, you're finding. Okay, I'll keep telling you.
Okay, I'm gonna be off the camera for like 2 seconds.
That's
awkwardly.
Fine. Go find it. Yeah, in audio, it's gonna sound fine either way. But anyway, so I get the pace setter. I'm like 901 units. Like what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like I'm over here I busted it to get 565, and I'm thinking I'm the hottest hot shit ever. And I see this, and I'm like, no freaking way. So then Steve's like, she's a force girl. You should call her. So I called Yvette, and I'm like, what's her number?
I remember. Didn't we talk like that week or something?
Yeah.
We talked,
I was like, what's her freaking number?
Yeah.
and she gives you your number, and I call you. And I was like, is this Katie Grassi? You're like, yeah. I'm like, this is Andres Gamboa.
I remember that.
And I'm going to kick your ass. And I just
remember that. I was like, who the hell is this? Like, who is calling me? It was such
and then I get a phone call. I don't know if she'll remember this or if she'll admit to this, but I get a phone call from then some chick named Hannah Reesberg, because I had just finished 565 and knew that because we knew that I had just the best week 5, and I had the best week in force. Like you hit your 901, and we heard about it, but nobody told us because it was like the end of week 4. So we didn't start talking about units until like later in that week. And Hannah heard that I sold 565 and had no idea about your 901 yet. So it was like this thing where we were calling each other, just competing over something so dumb as units. At the time, it seemed like the most important thing in the world. Now who gives a shit, right? Like I don't care. But it was just funny because that was like what all you focus on, and that competitive spirit of Southwestern really came through for us, because it just really helped push everybody. Morgan Jones was kicking ass. Meredith Gardner was kicking some ass. Like we had so many people just really jamming, and it was so much fun. But that's the first time I remember hearing about you. I'm like,
I remember that phone call. I didn't know that first part of the story. I didn't realize it was delayed, and like that different orgs did different things. I mean, you only know what you know, and like truly having blinders on is so much better. If you knew half the stuff that you learned over the summer before you started, I don't know that half the kids would do it. I mean, we were kids then, um, but I did one summer. I would not take back anything. I would do it all over again because it truly changed my life. But I have to be total honest moment. I don't think, I mean, some people within the Southwestern family know this, like Morgan and stuff, but that 901 and Nick Henderson, oh my gosh, did he try to coach me through this? Bless him, bless him. 901, it was like I finally kind of like lifted my head. Like, you know, when someone's like, put your head down and work.
Right.
That's what I was doing. I was like, I'm just going to hit these goals. I got to hit these goals. And then 901, pace setter, all this stuff. And I kind of like look up and start to look around. And I was like, oh, okay, like this is cool. I had a student manager come follow me.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And yeah. So a student manager came to follow me to see what I was doing. I went and followed Brandon Q so that they could try to launch me up into like the 10,000 unit club. I mean, it just got like a little crazy in a good way, but from like a young age, I competitively shot archery, and I was not the best. I went to nationals, but I was not the best because I would crack under pressure. And so this 901 unit month, not many people know this, but it shook me. I mean, in a great way, but then also in this way of like, how do I replicate it? And then I was overanalyzed too and thought like I wasn't focusing on just 30 demos, just do the thing, just do the dang thing. And then my dad had fallen at some point, probably week 6, 7. I was in a relationship that I literally got ghosted from week 6, 7, like no response. I've been texting, like, and just nothing. Ghost, complete ghost. She didn't talk to me the rest of the summer. I didn't do anything. It was just like she knew what I was doing for a job and ghosted. So those two things, like the emotional things, started to creep in. Being away from my dad started to creep in. And that's when, I mean, I envy so many people at Southwestern who, like, the finish strong is probably one of the most important parts of the summer to me. And just not quitting. I would tell anyone, even if I have kids, do it, just don't quit, because it changes you. And I was probably one of those ones that I was lucky to have delivered at a certain point, because I probably quit and stayed week like 9 for sure. I was there for 10 weeks, but week 10, I like delivered basically. So I know Hannah, like, challenge. I wish we could go back 10 years ago and I could do this like second half of the summer again. I promise I would put money down. Hannah, I will buy you a drink on a beach somewhere when we go on vacation again. But if I would have kept my head down and finished strong, I didn't finish strong. No, I would have finished one in 10 weeks and no one would have beat me in the 2 weeks longer. I promise. Like, Nick and I crunched numbers. It was possible. And I just cracked. I lost sight. Man. I didn't have any other goals. I was just fighting for like money. And when your why, like, that roots back to the first part of my story. When your why is so strong outside of just books, like, you can literally do anything. I've worked with 3 of the sister companies now, or like been involved with 3 of them, 4 of them now, I guess. So, same principles, changes in life, but your why is important.
I was going to ask you about that. I mean, we can get to that right now, or we can share some more funny stories. I'll dealer's choice here, but I do at some point want to talk about like your story, because it's definitely, we have to have some space to talk about or hear about, like, why you have a 4,500 some odd, you made 25 grand or something, right? Like and you don't come back. You know, what happened? You know, we could do some more stories, or we can get into that. You dealer's choice here.
I feel like that's a good one. And then we can always shift, I have funny stories that we can shift the energy with. But while we're on the track of like your why and heaviness, because my why was integral to who I was. And so I get back after the summer, and quite frankly, to quit and stay week 9 or whatever, it was like, every book kid says this, I'm never doing that again.
This is great, but
this has been fun. This has been real. I'm out. And I
No,
got
thank you.
recruited. I mean, people wanted me to like, how did you do it? Questions. I mean, it was kind of nice to have the people that like Brandon Q and like to be paid attention to as like you start out as a rookie, you know, and then you make a name for yourself. And that's something that I've done was part of my why. Didn't realize it until about probably 2 years ago. Little fish, big pond. High school. I grew up in a town. Everyone knew my name. I mean, we owned a business that my family still runs, and little fish, big pond. So I was a 7 sport athlete, honor society, all this stuff. Got a full ride scholarship. Then I went to college, and it was like, you're at ground zero. You're the rookie. Little fish, big pond. And how are you going to make a name for yourself over the next 4 years? So I went to UNI. By the time I graduated, I did a victory lap, but everyone knew me. I actually last night, I can't even make this up. I was at a bar last night, and I'm with a couple of my friends. Another girl is there, and my friend goes, "Hey, do you know my friend Katie? Like, this is Katie." And before she even says, like, this is, the girl goes, "You're Katie Grassi." And I was like, "And you are?" Like, that would happen all the time because I just made a name for myself on campus.
Sure.
She was from UNI, Little Fish, Big Pond. Then go to St. Louis, Little Fish, Big Pond. I made a name for myself, network there. Now it's kind of like the big leagues, like life. Like that's where I feel like I am. I'm putting myself in that like rookie position again, little fish, big pond. And we'll get to that, I think, at the end of the thing. You asked me though, why I didn't go back.
Yeah.
So time is the one thing that you can never get back. And they recruited hard. I don't even know who they was. I was so checked out and more focused than my dad was not doing well. I had a bag packed in my car. And my teachers at the start of each semester, I would tell them the circumstances. I would tell them I would have my cell phone on. And if I just left class and took my books, don't be alarmed. Like I have to leave. I have to go to the hospital, which has in sales given this, that was right at the beginning of cell phones, this extremely awful connotation to the phone because it was always negative. You still paid for your minutes. So anyway, I go to college. I go back to college. I have a bag packed in my car at all times. My dad is in his 5th year of battling. Going back to the first story, 3 to 5 years to live. And so I said, even if I could push through and do the managing part, which I do feel like I miss in my life, like I want to have had that experience, but I said I can't get back time. And that was exactly it. That was my last summer, actually. The summer I didn't go back out and sell, which would have been book summer 2, was the 5th year that my dad battled cancer. And that was my last summer with him. He passed away the February after. I was running for student body vice president, super involved. So like I never stopped doing, but I just knew that I couldn't give up a summer away from my dad. And I'm so glad I didn't. That was probably the last year I fished, and I didn't fish for 7 years after. I mean, like there were just things, I mean, and now you know my story.
Yeah.
I've lost both my parents. So time and like the work that I do now is just something you literally cannot get back. And I don't regret that part at all. I regret not finishing strong. I regret like not being in that the manager and pushing yourself to recruit. And it's a whole different ballgame than selling. You're selling, but a different capacity.
Different lessons to learn that from those things. Yeah.
Definitely. And I know that I'll learn them in my life. It wasn't my time then. But yeah, that's why freaking rookie, one summer wonder is what I say.
And you know, what's crazy about that, I mean, because you're the kind of friend for me that you know, we don't necessarily catch up every day, you know what I mean? It's like, but you are someone who, like, when we catch up is like nothing, like we just talked yesterday. And that is something that I remember. Like, I've called you during those times, right? We talked that February after your dad passed, and we talked after your mom passed. And but that is something that I do remember was very instilled in you, is just the idea of like, hey, we only have so much time, and the value that you put on time is is inspiring, because you use that at such a good, you have a very good way of taking that mentality and letting it give you fruit, because you've been pretty successful across the board since, in those times, and you've changed careers and stuff, but you
Yeah.
kicked ass everywhere you went after that too. So that it's something that's really admirable. So good for you. Heck yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I've been finding, find what's close, but it's not it. And
Mhm.
I now have done like the big and scary and like decided to go out on my own kind of thing. And really do the dang thing. I mean, I've done Nick Henderson, gosh, I stayed with him. I did an internship with Family Heritage. We did 25K in premium, like one of my first weeks, like
Hmm.
in 1 week. It was crazy. I was
Killer.
with Tom James. I loved everything about that. Got recruited. I started an RV dealership in Southern Illinois. I helped start the sales service parts, warranty, and marketing departments. I ran all 5 of those until we hired off, went from a team of 5 and an empty building, no phones, no desks. And they go, we're going to open in 1 week. I'm like, and then they gave me the budget for the showroom and they said, we need you to order all the parts for the showroom. We have no clue what to order. So I did that. They're now a team of 35 full time. When I was there and I was there, helped that grow for about a year and a half, and then ended up moving back to Iowa to help my family's dealership. I mean, there was a lot of life in there, but yeah, it's been a fun ride. And now I feel like I'm finally like leaning into what I've always known, but I mean, Southwestern, for any of the principles, the impact, the people that you're around has been tenfold. Just that's what's really stuck in my life. That's what, I mean, I can be at any job. Any of us can be at any job. We can do anything, but the principles, those don't go away. You can fight the principle because you're fighting it in yourself, that mirror that you're seeing and you don't like. And then when you're like, oh yeah, okay, I'm going to let this in, I'm going to practice this, I'm going to get better at it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
all of a sudden you embrace it, accept it, and now you want to teach to others.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Good stuff.
Dang.
Good stuff.
Dang, Grassi, you're killing it. Just proud of you. I'm just proud of you.
It also, great story. I had the ACT prep. I actually did use that. I did not open one of those books, not once, maybe to look at a couple pages. I had the ACT prep. I used that as a killer story. It was all true. I practiced. I took the ACT once. I practiced, used the prep, took it a second time. And because my score was higher, that was a huge part of getting the full ride scholarship I did to college, like a $40,000 scholarship. So that also probably helped me sell some.
I mean, you had a good mix of everything. You had a good why, you had the work ethic, and you had the conviction in the product. Really, that's really.
And have fun with it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I was so good at like the jokes, and it was all good. Anyway.
Yeah, and it was fun also from the standpoint of on this side, like because eventually what ended up happening is we would chat and do like pump up calls, and it was just it became like a fun just way of staying accountable and helping each other kind of just succeed. We were both especially after Hannah started kicking ass, because she kind of started.
I know what's wild. You called that call. You called me at the shit crack of dawn. You interrupted every single morning of my summer selling. I listened to more. I had an hour drive to territory, hour back. So I'd leave at 6, get there at 7 for the first knock, and I wouldn't get home until 11:30. And I would. No, like my whole day was like 6 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. because I had an hour drive there, hour drive back.
Oh, wow.
So I listened to his speech. I listened to the pony story. Like I listened to that full hour. I could listen to the entire hour of his speech, and I would play it as soon as I would leave breakfast. By the time I got to my first door to knock on that morning, he'd be just wrapping up. Like they'd be clapping applause. And I probably nearly put scratches on that CD because I'd listened to it every single day that summer, every single morning. And you interrupted it when you called that one day. I remember.
Oh. What an asshole. How to get in your head? Try to beat you.
You did.
And I did not succeed. I missed by a few hundred. Damn it. Damn it. So, all right, let's let me feel free to share anything more about like what you're up to now. Is in I mean, I know there's other projects stuff in the works, but I don't know if that's a story for another time or if you want to share a little bit about that at all.
No, I can go into that. Where are we at on time check? I didn't really pay
Um,
attention to the start time.
yeah, we probably have like I mean, we've been on live for 45 minutes, but
Oh, okay, okay. I had no comprehension of time. It's like COVID. You wake up and you're like, what day is it?
yeah.
Um,
So this is Monday. I don't even know.
Seriously. I do we should circle back at some point because I thought about the pace setter, I realized I was kind of thinking, just like reminiscing on my summer. I wanted to make sure I remembered this and I could tell my parents because like we didn't have cell phones. I didn't want to talk to them a lot or get distracted. Even on Sundays, like I might go 2-3 Sundays before I talk to my family.
Oh,
Um yeah, like they came down to help me deliver. They got to deliver with me on my last day, my mom and my grandma.
oh, that's cool.
I know, they stayed in a hotel. I got to like sneak out of the host's family house. My student manager knew, but Morgan didn't because we just kept it a secret. You know, it's harder. She's going to have to stay for 2 weeks. I get to see my family, not even leaving in Nashville, like, or at home. I get to see them right now. So anyway, that was cool. They got to deliver and it was like, you did what? And like the number of cookies I got, you know, like have cookies ready for me. My mom was like, why are you getting all these cookies? Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. And it was hot. Oh my God, it was hot. Anyway.
Yeah, Louisiana summers, man. That's brutal.
It changed the complexion of my skin. It full on changed the anatomy of my life. I swear that
That's
heat
wild.
is
So
something.
hot.
And
Louisiana
funny
heat,
story.
man. Oh,
This is a tangent before I tell you what I was about to say, but crawfish boils in Louisiana. You might waltz up on one because it's summer in Louisiana. People are out enjoying themselves. You work on 4th of July, maybe. I don't remember if we did, whatever. They're happening. So I remember this family is like, grab yourself some, blah, blah, blah. And right as this guy is like about to say, like, just don't touch your face, I had like already rubbed my face and like went like this and rubbed my eye. Off the Richter scale hot, my eyes are just pouring water. Nothing helps that. What do you grab, like a gallon of milk and pour it in your eyes? Highly, highly, highly don't recommend. Like 10 out of 10, don't do it. I mean, eat the like I didn't eat crawfish, like give me shrimp. But
we did a get back in NOLA and that was my first crawfish boil and it was, I mean, holy moly.
I would prefer shrimp boil. But crawfish, I feel like I came back to Iowa and my mom, you know, she's like a meat and potatoes kind of woman. She would make hamburgers and potatoes, whatever. And I remember the seasoning. I'm like, Mom, did you even put salt on this? Like, because in Louisiana, it's so seasoned. And then you go back to like the heart of the Midwest. After that. It was like nothing.
Yeah.
I do remember that. And they told me I had an accent all the time. I had an accent. I'm in Louisiana and they're telling me I have an accent.
Boy, they needed you for those books.
Man, oh man. Anyway, what I was going to say is I wrote a journal every night before I'd go to bed. The last thing, even if I got home at 11:30, if I got home at 12, 10:30, whatever time it was, I would spend 5 minutes and I would write exactly like what happened in my day in a journal. Just like knocked on a house, it was yellow, saw a bird, like whatever came to mind, I just wrote it down. And I still have that journal. I do. I don't have it with me. That's why like we should come back to it because there are like every story from my summer is literally written, like every single one of them, every day.
That is wild.
Crazy.
Did you find that pace setter?
Oh yeah. I think I have them. I'm gonna be disappointed if I think that it's in here and it's not.
I'm gonna be so sad now.
I will.
Do you still have the Superstar book? Somebody was sending me the Amy Pagozzi. Remember Amy Pagozzi? Or I guess Amy Groom now. I was just chatting with her the other day and she sent me a picture of my she's got the Superstar book. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on a second.
That is so crazy. Yeah, no, I have it somewhere. I just don't know which box. It's like amongst all of these, you know, you save every card from when you're little. Okay, I'll find them.
Yeah.
Because I literally have all the pace setters somewhere. For my summer, they motivated me. I started collecting them. And then I would get mad when my face wasn't on them and Hannah's was or yours was. I'm like,
Yeah,
who
you
are
did.
these people?
They did. You saw
Get
me
out of
under
my
3 times.
photo shoot.
You saw me under at least 3 times.
I
Get out of
know.
here.
We
Oh,
all rotated. I think like Hannah was on it
boom.
twice. I was on it like 3 times. You were on it like 2 or 3 times. So we had a good mix. There was maybe
Yeah.
like one random person that wasn't us 3 that was on it for one of the
It was
weeks.
Travis Brevik, but they sold like 14 weeks, which is bullshit. He ended up number 4. I know what you mean,
Oh,
but
yeah, I
you
don't
know
even
what
know.
they should do for the pace setters? They should do highest average per week. Like that's what they should do, because not everyone sells the same amount of weeks. But
Yeah,
that's
but
a
what
whole
if you have an
story.
all-star week? Like my 901 wouldn't have mattered. I
That would have raised the
revoked what
average.
you just said.
I think you ended up with the highest average week, because you would have been number 1 in that, just so you know.
Oh, well, then we can do that all day long.
Yeah. Oh, how the turns table.
Exactly. No, I'll have to find it. I don't know. I really thought that I had them in these boxes, but
My mom saved the ones that I'm on that say
I have
that
all of them. I even
Andres
saved your
Gamboa
face.
was number 1 at one point over
I
King
have all of
Grassi.
yours.
That's all
I
I
don't need a
cared. My
reminder. I
summer,
have
I didn't even
all.
care. Here's the thing: here's what happened with this summer is I didn't even give a shit about Hannah, because I was just trying to catch up to you, and I was like, whatever happens, I gotta be Katie, and I did not. And then it didn't matter because she closed that summer out like a boss. So we were
Hey,
like,
wait, didn't you sell 12 weeks?
I sold no. I only ended up selling like 10 and a half, because what I didn't get sent books to me.
Oh, yeah. It takes a long time to deliver
So
when you don't have books.
so I was gonna, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I
That
had like
901 really helped me.
80 customers or something. I
Yeah.
don't know, 200 some odd. And so
No, yeah, same.
Yvette was like, hey, so because I was originally was supposed to sell all 12, and then, or no, we sold 12, and then so I only sold 11, because the 13th week we were going to deliver checkout
Oh,
back to
sure.
school.
Yeah.
And on the Sunday of week 9, I get a phone call from Yvette. She's like, hey, this Wednesday, I need you to come home early, and you need to go order your books. I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, you're stop knocking at like 6, and then go home, and then I'm going to walk you through how to order books. And I was like, okay. And I did that. And then week 10 ended. And then on week 10, I didn't go to that Sunday meeting. I got told to stay home and watch delivery school, because I was going to start delivering that Wednesday. So it sold like 10 and a half weeks.
To help me, Trevor, who recruited me, he technically was my student manager, Trevor Monier, which I also didn't know. He rented someone's camper in their backyard for $25 and lived in that.
That's so good. That's a great idea.
Dude, I got spoiled. I was in a gated community. You had to have a key code to get in. Yes.
Wow.
We were in a you had to have a keypad thing to get in every single time you came in. I mean, it was like we had a whole loft. It's like Brandon Q he stayed in like that retared NFL guys.
My brother has a really cool story about the coolest HQ. I'll let him tell it if he's ever on here, but he stayed at a school. This family bought a school, like an elementary school, and turned it into a house. That's cool. And like each classroom was like a bedroom, and they had like different themes for each room. It was wild. They had a gym and everything, the pool, and it was, he stayed there. Yeah. Anyway, I'll let him tell that story.
Where I'm at in life, by the way.
Yeah, sorry. This is like, so we are on the random place. This is the most
like
spaced out, reminiscing type episode. That's okay. We like the variety. It's fine, man.
Fine. It's fine. Everything is fine. So I live back in, I feel like part of that is essential. So before I moved back to Iowa, and why I moved, I was helping run the dealership, helped start it. I actually proposed to my fiance the week before my mom was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. A week later, we find out my mom has stage 4 cancer. By December of 2018, December 21st, she's put in hospice. We spent every Christmas, we celebrated Christmas like 4 times over. New Year's, January 1st, I remember telling my mom, like, it's okay. Like, we're ready. We are losing you. We didn't expect to. I mean, this was totally out of the blue. There were no signs, no nothing. And I live 7 hours away in Southern Illinois. My mom is in Anamosa, Iowa. And so we told her, when you're ready, we'll be too. And mom, do not try to make it to my birthday. This is January 1st. And she's still coherent at this point. By like the 5th, and every like 2 days, we would be told she'd like be okay and then just crash kind of thing. And it was like, you have 2 days left with your mom. Like, that's what I was told several times over. You have 2 days left. You have 24 hours. You have 48 hours. Yeah, like 20 times. So by like the 5th, she kind of like falls, like crashes, and we're like, okay, is this it? And then like the 9th, 10th comes back up. By the 10th, we're like, my sister and I had a conversation. We're like, there's a chance she might pass away on your birthday, Katie. You need to prepare yourself, maybe. And so I had another conversation with my mom, and I'm like, Mom, when you're ready, it's okay. And I remember, funny story, we're in a hospital room. This hospice wing is really nice. And she looks around and she gasps. It's Christmas. There's a bunch of stuff in the room. She goes, oh, you're going to have to clean this room. She's dying.
Oh, man.
And we're like, yeah, Mom, we will. And we lived there. I mean, we literally basically lived at the hospital. I just kept calling into work. They understood. I was like, and I got to the point where I would like quit my job if I had to. Time. You just can't get back time. You can always make more money. You cannot make more time. You can change your priorities, which I was doing. So then she gasps and she goes, oh, you're going to have to clean my house. 2 years later, Andres, we're still cleaning the house. I'm in the house. We are still cleaning it. Yes, Mom. Yes, we will have to clean the house. Thank you, Mom. I love you. I miss you, but still cleaning. But it was funny. It was funny. We laughed and stuff. So that's like the 10th.
So
it starts. Go ahead.
You're sitting there thinking right now, like, yes, you were still right. I'm still
yes, yeah, Mom, you're so freaking right. You're like, you maybe shouldn't have been right about this one.
Of all the things you could have been wrong about.
Spare us some time.
Man, that's brutal. Yeah. To like, she must have been. Did you feel like, because the way you have the perception of time, and you've already kind of had dealt with this a little bit with your dad. I mean, did you feel like the second time around was just as brutal, or how was that for you? I mean, it must have been real tough.
I remember my sister had to tell me over the phone, Mom has stage 4 cancer. At this point, she had basically a feeding tube. And my sister told me they gave Mom the choice to keep the tube in and hope that she can have surgery. Like, she has to get her strength up, aka has to get food, nutrients, or she can have the tube removed, which vetoes any surgery. And then she'll have 2 hours to 2 days to live. My sister tells me this over the phone, and then she goes, and Mom chose to have the tube taken out. And so I had a matter of moments to then start driving to Iowa, because my mom, they're going to remove this tube. They're going to wait until I get there, which my mom is miserable at this point. Like, this tube is just, she wants it out, but she has to wait until I get there because she could die before I get there.
On the way. Yeah.
Oh. And then my fiance at the time, she goes, what do we pack? And I go, well, you have to pack funeral clothes because we won't be able to make it back before she dies to then, like, so you're comprehending so much life in such a short amount of time. So we come up here and I ended up staying longer. But it's like a whirlwind. And I remember saying to my sister, I said, I don't want 5.5 years. And that hurt me too, to say, because in that moment I was saying, I knew my mom was terminal, but then I also just said, I don't want 5 years with her. So I put a deadline to her death too, because what I watched with my dad is like healthy dad, sick dad, and then gone. And it was really hard. And financially, I mean, it was brutal. And so I've seen both sides. My dad battled for 5.5 years. I watched him take his last breaths in our house. Like, he passed away in a hospice at home. And then my mom battled for 4 months. And then she actually, to finish that story, she passed away on my birthday.
Oh,
Yeah. And then she wanted to be buried with my dog that I had gotten on as a bet from my dad, who was 10. Lily was 10. She was healthy, but to relocate her, and that was my mom's ultimate wish. She was kind of a grumpy dog, but she was great. Anyway, I actually put her down so that she could be buried with my mom on my birthday also. I put her down by choice so that she could be buried with my mom. So my
Man,
birthday was great, Andres. It was great that
I
year.
bet. Happy New Year.
Seriously.
All the
And
holidays,
so,
just one in one. It's so
yeah,
great. It's great. This is birthday, New Year's anniversary of stuff.
thanks,
Just awesome.
Mom.
Labs around the world. Let's just throw them
Yeah,
all
they
in there.
brought me in. She actually always said that. She's like, I brought you into this world. I'll take you out of it. And then like the day I came into this world, she left. Like
Yeah.
it's become very full circle. So, and what's crazy, we're actually doing some research at the hospital. She might have passed away. So the hospice unit used to be the birthing center when I was born. She might have
No.
passed away in the room that I was born, exactly
No.
12
That'd be
hours difference the
bananas.
time that I was, and she passed away in the same position. We have a picture of from the day I was born. It is like
That's
full
wild.
circle creepy.
That's
It is like
wild.
crazy, wild, like, oh my gosh, I can't even
Wow.
make this up. We have a sign, Andres, like after my mom passed away, that my dad's birthday was 9/11. It is 9/11 right now while I'm telling you this.
This is okay.
Like how
So should we just say hi to your mom and dad right now? They're probably just
right?
listening.
Like, hi,
They're
mom,
tuning in
dad. I
through
know you're
the Wi-Fi.
listening. Thank you for everything. Like, I'm seriously the person, I would not be the person I am today without having lost both my parents. And I know some people don't like the analogy, you have to go through shit, or even like, ponytails. You have to wade through shit to like have some sort of reward. You don't have to be miserable in life to also experience happiness, but hardship does shape you. And it has shaped my life full circle. Like, I can't even make that up. What are the chances that that time that I've been saying for the last
That's wild.
8 years with my mom, that's like, we have 60 seconds for that to be possible.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's so crazy. Anyway, so
Like in all the
that's my like
introductions and
full
tangents that we
crazy
went on tonight
story.
until we would talk about that at that point. That's wild.
I know. So the good thing about time, kind of as our theme that we've just developed over this episode, is that I was losing my past, but I was looking forward to my present. Like, I had a fiance, I was going to build this life. We had 3 dogs. I had a contractor hired to build a house. I had this job, I was helping at this dealership, and that it just started to unfold, all of it. And it wasn't even incompatibility really. I mean, obviously that's part of it, but just not being there for me. I really felt like I was grieving alone and just no support, and had to do it alone. And I remember saying, like, my mom died. Like, you don't get to choose what happens in life. You get to react to it. Life is 90% what you do about it and 10% what happens, no matter how hard it is. And she looked at me and she goes, I don't have to do anything. Your mom died.
Oh.
So yeah, fast forward to answer your question.
Holy shit.
My engagement ended by choice. I ended my engagement. I decided to move my entire life, canceled the house, left the job. I left 2 dogs. One of them spent 20 days at hospice with me. It was like all this emotional stuff. And it's like, to lighten the mood, I guess. I'm here now. It's great. My life is freaking tenfold what it was 2 years ago, but I lost everything nearly that year. I mean, I lost my mom, which then turned into my entire, like all the, you want a life wheel your life? It was pretty much so every area.
Bananas.
It was crazy. So then I moved back. I work at my family's dealership. I actually reconnected with you, and they call me Camping Katie. I do not plan to be in the RV industry my whole life, but I will always be a traveler. Cooper, my dog, I was going to put him in here, but he whines sometimes, but he's a golden. His middle name is Miles. And so what I'm up to these days is I travel. Actually, this is little Koopy
Love
in
him.
sticker form.
Love him.
So my first book, I'm writing a book. I just signed
Hey,
up for self-publishing school a couple weeks ago.
shout out to SPS.
And
Hell yeah.
I know, I'm so pumped. I'm gonna write a how-to guide, Camp and Katie, and kind of see where that goes. But ultimately going to write a memoir. I do loss and life coaching. Have been through a little bit of it.
I was gonna say, if anybody knows about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not even death. I know that we've talked about this, and like I said, I'm an open book. Ask me any questions that come to mind, for real. But loss is so much more than that. And I've learned through all my life experience, you lose past versions of yourself to grow into new versions of yourself. That's probably actually one of the hardest losses, because you have to do it by choice, not by chance. You can be forced into it, but you resist it. And so you have to choose it, but then also you have to let go of your identity. Like, what was a foundation? I mean, it's so scary. When you lose something outside yourself, it's a circumstance. When you choose to lose part of yourself to grow into a new self, that's a whole nother ballgame. So I coach people through that, like how to grow,
Beautiful.
like how to be your best you, how to live life to the fullest, how to get the most out of the time you have, because tomorrow's not promised. And I love it. Oh my gosh, I love life so freaking much. It's fun. I do some speaking. So I'll do like guest little webinars. I would like to do like maybe some high schools and colleges doing speaking, some motivational speaking. I've said that since I was little. And then the books eventually stemming into a podcast that I'll launch next year is probably the plan. And the memoir being a huge part of that, the travel and Camping Katie thing being like the travel side, and more than likely going full-time in a camper RV bus conversion in like April or May of 2022.
Love that. Gosh, that is so cool.
Sweet. Writing a book, like a year from now, I'm going to be a podcaster, an author. I'm a coach.
Love it.
Public speaker.
Yeah.
All
I
of
love
them.
it. I
know.
love that.
I'm excited.
I love that lifestyle. That's awesome. That's so cool.
It's fun. It's crazy. Who would have thought?
I mean, honestly, I'm just really proud of you, because I know what you've been through. I mean, I knew maybe not as much detail as this, or maybe over the years I lost some of these details, but I do, I remember being on the other side of the phone where we were talking through some of these things, and like just where you're at now, man, like
so crazy.
Good for you. Very proud of you.
Well, and also I'm staring at this thing. So I write some poetry too, but I'm staring at this. I don't know if I wrote it or where I found it, but it literally just is my reminder at my desk. I'm not going to fail because I'm not going to quit trying. I'm not going to fail because I'm not going to quit trying. Like that sums up life. Like you just keep doing it. Yes. Mine is in my closet. So every day when I get dressed, I see it in my closet. Like it's my reminder. And then I have my calendar board on my one side.
Damn. That's it. I love it. Well, so when your book comes out, I want a copy. So I will get a copy, and I want to read that, because
it's gonna happen. I have some ambitious goals, but it's gonna happen. It will be published for sure in a year. I would like to kind of I've not said this publicly, so I guess accountability, whoever's listening, feel free to send me a text, Facebook, Instagram, hold me to it. How's it going? Check in. I would like to have it published as kind of like, that's my gift to the world, and then hopefully a gift in return as support of my birthday for next year. So on January 1st. 3-year anniversary on January 15th. My mom passed away.
15th, yeah.
Yeah.
Why did I say first?
Well, because we were talking about New Year's, which we did celebrate New Year's, but yeah. So January 15th of 22. I'll either have the camping book and my memoir, or for sure one of them published by January 15th. So
I love that.
I know, I'm excited.
This is so cool. Well, and I mean, yeah, I'll keep you accountable. So
I know you will.
Been through that. So I will call you for sure. Yeah, no, and again, yeah, just going through those moments in your life with you, like it's really cool to see the growth, and you're killing it. And I'm so proud of you. So that's very cool. Good for you, girl. That's awesome, man. So
no, I feel like time. We could spice things up with some funny
Yeah,
stories
I was gonna say, I
now.
feel like now it's time for like some of these pony stories, and then we can put a nice bow on this thing. So
Yes.
so let me
Yeah.
recap so before we get into this. So we talked a little bit about how you got in, you killed it. We had a good, really first summer, keeping each other accountable. That's really the key to my success, was being able to compete with you.
Yeah.
And now you went through all this heavy loss. Your father passed, and you saw that transition of 5 years of him battling, and then your mom passes in a much shorter time span, and you're just learning to deal with this grief and with this loss. But every time I talk to you, it's just this incredible energy and just really fun way of being. So yeah, you're just a total stud, badass, writing a book, about to go on the road. So now to give it like a nice dessert to this awesome and very touching episode, let's hit some pony stories. What do you got
Yeah.
for me?
Yes. So first, every single person listening, whoever happens to be listening to this, or right now, after the fact, whatever, thank you, like, for existing, for being in our lives, both of ours, and the impact, the principles that we've shared, and the people, the good people in this space that we get to be connected to is just phenomenal. But funny stories of who made us the freaking people that we are today. I have this crazy pony story. So I listen to Mort every single day. I mean, the deeper the shit, the bigger the pony. Like, that was ingrained in me. I listened to the full hour every single morning. So I can't even make this up. I remember the highway like it was like nothing. You drive around this corner, and as you like take this corner, there's just like, I mean, it's 100 yard, maybe 200 yards off the road to this house that you can't even really see. It's just
In Louisiana.
shit. In Louisiana, there's just junk in the front yard. I mean, tractors and old equipment, and just there's like a dirt path back to this, what I imagine is a house. I didn't even know if it was a business. As I start to round the bend, I can see there's like a single wide trailer back there. No signs, no nothing. I don't know if it's a business, house, whatever. And I'm like, I literally like almost stopped on the side of the road. And I'm like, do I do this? Do I go knock? And I'm like, give everyone a shot. Give everyone a shot. So I go up, I park my vehicle. I'm standing at the, like, facing this house, and I fully have to depict everything. It's this single wide. There's like, I don't even know what it's siding, maybe wood. I don't know. It's falling apart. The whole thing is falling apart. And I don't see all but one door. There's no side door. There's nothing. But the problem is that there's a deck that, if here is where the trailer is, the porch goes like this.
Oh, so it's like the wood on it is just
It's not even stable, but that's the only door. There's literally no other door. Like, I have kind of like searched all around. There's one door. I'm like, okay, I have to skip a step to go up to it because, of course, that's broken or I'm going to fall through. I can't even make this up. Do you see how my chest is cut off? Yeah. Like, this was the bottom of the door. Oh, I was knocking at the door at like chest level. The door frame, the bottom where you step into the freaking house, is like at my hips, like literally at my waist. I'm at floor level. You could open the door.
This person has to like climb to get up into their house.
Essentially, to get in this house. And I'm like, what the actual F am I doing? So I do the, like, I did the fun knock, like dun, dun. So I do my fun knock, take a step back onto what? I don't even know. I like turn sideways and smiling, like looking
turn sideways and wave at
trash.
Nobody, wave at junk.
I mean, I am like, what is happening? Someone answers. Someone answers the door, and they're like, come on in. Andres, I had to set my bag down. I like set it up into the house, and I pushed it back. I had to go like this and like hoist myself up into the house and spin my legs around and then stand up. And she's watching me like, this is totally normal. Like, this is how you enter this house. This isn't weird.
Like, no way.
What is happening?
Just a shit show. It's
Oh no,
crap.
it is
It's just
totally like, what am I doing? The best part, she goes, "Oh, take a seat, honey." And I could see there's like 4 kids running around. I didn't even know that there was kids. So I sit down, I'm like giving the demo. I'm looking around. You know how you're like, it was towards the middle to end of the summer, and I'm you like have it all memorized. So you can kind of look around and pick up like on cues to kind of help you through your pitch and make it
yeah.
personalized. And I'm
They
looking
actually don't teach
around.
that anymore on the sales talk, but it was in our sales talk.
Oh,
In the
okay.
sales
Okay.
talk, it actually said like look for things to connect with. So baseball bats, trampolines, or whatever. Yeah. For those of
Sure,
you
sure.
listening. Yeah, yeah. I
I
remember
can't
that.
make this up. I look around. I'm sitting next to a trash can. It's not just any trash can. It is a 55-gallon drum of trash that is overflowing. And there's not just one, but 2 of them in this single wide in the living kitchen area.
What's it smell like? It's just got to be
Oh,
gross. Just
I'm not kidding. I think I got fleas while I was sitting there. Like I saw them jumping around. Like she said to sit on the couch,
you
and
pull
I
out that
saw it
Explorer
kind
and
of
learn this
crawling.
says this is how high a flea can jump, or you can just look because there's one right here.
Yeah, no joke. So I am like, I finished this pitch because at this point I kind of realized I'm halfway through it. What am I doing? But I can't just like stop it because she's like, she is on the edge of her seat. Like she's eating this up. And so I'm like, I just keep going because she's giving yes cues, but I'm like, why am I doing this? And I get to the end and kind of like, I barely did a price build up because I was like, she's either going to want it or she's not. I'm like, sometimes it's expensive. Sometimes it's really expensive. I think I might have said that. But this actually, and I just said the whole amount, like the whole
Which
kit and
is
caboodle, drop the
which
bag.
is
This is the amount.
13.98 or something, like 1,400
Yeah.
bucks.
I'm
Probably.
like,
Yeah.
it's like
At the time we were selling
$1,500.
CDs. Yeah, it was a lot of money. Can you
Yeah.
had taxes and shit. Well, and it was different products back. We didn't have it was like different cards to CDs, full kit set, Bible
Yeah. It
study,
had the advantage, the
Mufus.
Mofus.
Yeah, the whole thing. Yeah,
Yeah, it had
the whole
everything.
CD packs. Yeah, yeah. They don't have those
And I
anymore.
go, other things are expensive. Some things are really expensive. This, just all of it, everything that I've said today, it's like $1,500. Do you want it? That was my price
That's
build
your
up.
close, and you're
That
close.
was
Do you
my
want
price
it?
build up and
Not what
close.
everyone likes about how I do business. Nothing. It was just
No, I
straight yes or
nothing.
no.
And I go, do you want it? And she goes, well, you take a check. And I was like because I don't even know that they have a computer to use the CDs. I just included in this price check, or I mean
Right.
this what a package. And she goes, well, honey, let me get you a check. I'll just write you a check for the whole thing.
What the fuck?
It went through, dropped the whole
Yeah,
bag.
you're worried that the check will bounce.
And she went through, cleared it, made sure of that. She bought more when I came back and delivered.
What the hell? What did
And
she say?
I don't even remember. I remember there were signs on the fridge that were like, if it ain't pot, it ain't my job or something. Like, I mean, it was like she didn't work. Her
Every
husband
red
was an
flag.
excavator. Like they were like contract equipment excavating company, something or other. Like
Wow.
she goes, you'll take a business check, won't you? I'm like, sure thing. Just make sure you
Damn.
put the right amount. And then I had to recalculate to know what the total was. And she bought all of it. It was
That's
crazy.
pony.
Other pony story, I just thought of this when I said drop the bag. So I dropped the bag one other time with this mom. It was so weird. I could not figure out the connection, but I met this other guy and I realized that their last names were the same. The kid was at both houses, but because of where they lived, I saw them like a week or 2 weeks apart.
Sure.
So I'm going to deliver books, or I mean, I'm going to go see the dad. Apparently, I learned that he was the dad, and he goes, "Well, how much did Amy get?" And I was like, I gotta ask you, like, I didn't even say, but I was like, I gotta ask you, like, what's your connection? He goes, whatever Amy got, I'll get that and double. And like, he is persistent. I'm like, but she like got everything. Like you'd be getting 2 of everything. And he goes, no, that's what I want. And I go, I can do that, but like, who's Amy? Like, I just don't get this connection. Like, I've seen your son before. I mean, I think it's your son. And she goes, that's my ex-wife. And I always got a one-upper.
Oh my God.
He goes, the second set can go to or his grandma's.
Pettiest 100 units ever.
All
Was that in
because
your
he wanted to
901 week?
one-up his ex-wife. I
Oh
can't even
my
make that one
God.
up. He goes, are you, or can I can write you a check for the whole, same thing. Can I
The
write you a check
bag,
for the full amount?
my 6th week, I dropped a bag, and it was similar to that, where like it was kind of like the Bill Zizzy. Remember Bill Zizzy? Did you ever listen to Bill Zizzy, Dave Rosen?
Oh, yeah.
When he was
One of
talking
those
about
things.
how he was with the 2 sisters, and he's like, "You're not gonna let your sister out, do you? Are you?" It was almost literally exactly like that, except it wasn't. It was some sisters. It was a mom and then her mom. So it was a really interesting dynamic. The mom had a daughter, the oldest daughter, when she was like 16. So then men were not the right kind of men in their life. They walked out, and the daughter had a daughter at 17,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Same
And so
cycle.
the little baby girl was like 2, maybe 3 months old. She had just been born. And she lived in the same house as her mom, who then later on had kids who were the same age as this sister. Does that make sense? And then they
Yes.
had either
Yeah.
kids, she had young old kids later on with other men. So basically, it was like a dynamic of really cool women, but one of
Yeah.
them was a mom, and she had a sister that was like in high school. And so
Sure.
the mom of the baby, of the grandma, was like, I'm gonna buy the whole thing because my sister is in high school and I have a baby, so I'll take like the whole thing.
Yeah. Cause it makes sense. They're all the whole
And
span.
the
I get it.
mom and the mom was like, well, what happens when, because she was planning on moving out, and like that was like the plan. So the mom was like, well, what happens when you leave? How are we gonna like split the books? And so I was like, and they had, at this, by the way, they were not poor. They must have like,
Yeah.
divorce must have been well or
Yeah.
whatever, but they were not poor. And so I felt comfortable going, well, you're not gonna just let her just buy a whole bag of books, and you're not gonna buy a whole, like, you won't let her out, do you? You know what I mean? And she was like, you're right, we'll just take the whole thing as well. And I wrote 2 bags in one house. It was like,
Yes.
I think it was like 190 units. And it
Yes.
was like the second to last house of my day. And I was like, hell yeah. Yeah. And that was when I
Oh,
hit like
yeah.
700. Yeah. Or something like that. It was crazy. So
I
you
have
gotta love
one.
those.
I have one more pony story.
All
This
right,
is
let's
like
do
the
it.
icing on the cake. I cannot believe I almost forgot about the story. This is truly
A
challenge
pony.
accepted to anyone else that could maybe do this. Trevor Monnier would have to verify the story. He would, because it was so wild. So this mom had a 2-year-old. She was a professor out of college. She had a 2-year-old in preschool. So when I sold to her, she just got the Mufus. Just that. That was it, which was weird because she also, like knows education, but also is like knows education. So she's like, I control what goes in and out. Trevor was delivering. He was my student manager. I said like he had to deliver with me that day or whatever. He goes, I'm gonna make you a bet on this one. She got the Mufus, try to drop he goes, let's do something just wild. Try to upsell her. And we made this bet. He goes, try to upsell her the student. What was the college one?
It was like there was like an
It,
ACT, SAT prep
but it
CDs.
wasn't it was like the book, like where you'd look up for
Oh, the
you're like
AP. Yeah, there
like
was
when
like
you're writing a
one that helps.
paper.
Yeah, top honors, or no, topic source.
Topic source. Okay,
Yeah,
the topic source. He goes, I want you, like, forget about the rest of the books. Cause I told him, I was like, she's not gonna buy it. Like, I just knew. He goes, upsell her the topic source. I bet you cannot. She's bought the Mufus, and he told
for
me to
the
upsell her
babies. Yeah,
for a toddler. She has a
yeah.
2-year-old. Upsell her the topic source. And I was like, bet. I go, watch
Deal.
this. So we go into this house, and I am going through like the pitch. I don't even remember like what the transition was, but I go, the studies show that you need to like increase, like the higher the knowledge is for the level of reading that you do,
You're just killing
the
this.
higher your baby's IQ will be. So these will be topics that would be introduced at like a higher high school to college level, but would be great for you to just brush up on some stuff for college, but also be super engaging for the little one and set him up for success. And sold it. I don't remember what else I said.
Pony.
He
Straight
was
up.
like literally
You're-
just like trying not to laugh. When we got in the car, he's like, I don't even know what to say.
Shut
Who
the
tells a
fuck-
mufu and drops a topic source on delivery to a
Whoa.
toddler?
You're as born to sell. That was it's in
I
your.
was like,
it's in
oh
your
my gosh,
blood.
it was fun. It was like he was
Oh.
like in the background, like, there's no way, like, just stop.
It's
I was like, no,
fun.
I got this.
There were some
was-
of those that like, and as much as I like to be like, yeah, I was to help this family. Like there was some that you're just like, you can afford this, and I'm going to try to sell you this just to see.
I
if
think the
can,
topic
like,
source was honestly one of the coolest books
Yeah,
in there
I-
because it
I
was
still
just
use
so, it wasn't like homework based. It was like the knowledge, the writing,
Yeah.
you know.
It was
kind of
it was like
stuff.
Wikipedia but accurate.
Yeah.
So it's kind of dumb.
Yeah.
It's
Anyway,
gonna
those are
fight,
my pony
Oh
stories.
man, well this has been a fantastic and touching episode. I mean the theme of it, I like the theme of like time and the lessons that you learned through not just Southwestern but in your parents passing individually, about the importance of like just time and how it's important to take advantage of. So any last closing thoughts on that, and then we can wrap it up, like last
No,
30
I would
seconds
just,
nugget.
yeah. I would just say, you know, to everyone listening, either on the recording, or I mean, on the recording, on the live, in the recording, thank you for spending your time with us. And I would kind of challenge you, like, how are you going to spend your time right now, tomorrow, to make the most of it? Because you won't get it back. And send it to me, you know, how you're making the most of your time these days. I'd love it.
Katie-
Personal challenge.
Katie Grassi, that's KATIE GRASSI. Find her on Instagram, Facebook, and message her about
Yes.
that if you're listening.
At by coached by KG on IG is a little different.
As far as upcoming episodes, Nick's is the one that usually knows all these, and so he's coming up with a list. So just keep tuning in. We're going to be on pretty much every Sunday and Thursday following through May, I think, or we're pretty booked. So this is exciting. I know we got Andrew Williamson, Patrick Julius is coming up, Tessa LaPlante's coming on. There's so many of them. It's really exciting. This thing is taking off. If you're listening and you would like to sponsor us, our reach is increasing every week now, which is a good problem to have. But we can plug your business or your project or whatever it is that you want plugged for some sponsorships on this Ponytails podcast. My name is Andres Gamboa. I am one of your hosts. Nick Taverdi was off today, and we were with Katie Grassi. Thank you so much, Katie. God bless. See you next time. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.